Hello, dear traveler. Before we begin tonight's journey together, I want you to do something for yourself. Something small, but important. Find the most comfortable position your body can imagine. Maybe that's lying on your back, arms loose at your sides. Maybe it's curled on your side, one hand tucked beneath your pillow. However you choose to rest, let it be exactly right for you right now. Dim the lights if you haven't already. Let the glow of screens fade into darkness. And now, take a breath. Not a perfect breath, not a measured breath, just your breath. Let it fill your lungs the way water fills a quiet lake. And release it, slowly, the way evening light fades from the sky. Good. Tonight, we're going to explore something extraordinary together. A mystery that sits at the very heart of what it means to be human. We're going to walk through a missing chapter of our shared story. A time so distant, and yet so strangely familiar that it feels like remembering a dream you had in childhood. And as we walk together through these ancient landscapes, through these lost moments of human experience, I want you to know that there's nowhere you need to be, nothing you need to remember, no test waiting for you at the end. This is just a story, just us, just the gentle rhythm of words carrying you somewhere soft and safe. Can you hear that? The rain beginning to fall somewhere far away? Let it be the soundtrack to our journey. Let it wash away the day's worries, the week's tensions, all the small anxieties that cling to us like dust on tired shoes. There's a period in human history that historians call the Mystery Millennium, though most people have never heard of it. It sits there in our past like a room in an old house that everyone walks by but never enters. Roughly 12,000 years ago, something extraordinary happened to humanity, and then the records go silent. Not completely silent, of course. Nothing in history ever truly disappears, but quiet enough that we've spent centuries trying to understand what our ancestors experienced during those lost generations. Picture this with me, if you will. It's a summer evening 12,000 years ago. The sun is setting over a landscape that would be utterly unrecognizable to you and me, but also, strangely, exactly the same. The sky still turns that particular shade of amber and rose that makes your heart ache without knowing why. The birds still call their evening songs. The air still carries that cooling sensation as day surrenders to night. But the world is different. The last ice age is ending. Not quickly, not like flipping a switch, but gradually, the way seasons change so slowly you don't notice until one day you realize everything is different. Massive glaciers that have covered entire continents for thousands of years are melting, retreating, leaving behind them valleys and lakes and new possibilities. The sea levels are rising, slowly swallowing coastlines, transforming the geography of the entire planet. And humans, our ancestors, your ancestors, mine, are watching this transformation with eyes we can barely imagine. Close your eyes now if they're not closed already. Feel the weight of your body sinking into whatever surface holds you. Let your muscles release one by one, starting with your toes, your feet, your ankles. Just let them go heavy. Let them rest. Now imagine you're one of them, one of these ancient people, standing at the edge of their world, watching it change. You're part of a small community, maybe 50 people, maybe 100. Everyone you love lives within the sound of your voice. Your grandmother, who knows every plant that heals and every star that guides. Your children, who laugh at things we've forgotten how to find funny. Your partner, whose hand you know better than your own. You live in harmony with rhythms we've lost. You know when the salmon return not because of a calendar app, but because your body feels the shift in the season the way you feel hunger or thirst. You navigate by stars, by wind patterns, by the behavior of animals. You're illiterate in the way we understand literacy, but you can read the world itself like a book written in a language of infinite complexity. And then, something changes. Not the glaciers melting. You've lived with that your whole life. Your parents lived with it, their parents before them. This is something else. Something your stories, your oral histories passed down through generations have no reference for. Some archaeologists believe there was a moment, or perhaps a series of moments, when human communities around the globe experienced something that fundamentally altered our trajectory as a species. Not an invasion, not a war, not a plague, something more subtle. Something that changed how we thought, how we organized ourselves, how we understood our place in the cosmos. What was it? Nobody knows for certain. And that not knowing, dear listener, is part of what makes this story so beautiful, so perfect for this quiet moment we're sharing. Because in the absence of certainty, we have something more valuable. We have imagination. We have empathy. We have the ability to feel our way into their experience, to wonder what they wondered, to fear what they feared, to hope what they hoped. Let your breathing slow now, in through your nose, filling your belly, not your chest. Hold it just for a moment, and release it, long and steady, like a sigh of contentment. Some evidence suggests that during this missing chapter, human societies became suddenly different, more complex, more organized. Sites appear in the archaeological record that show sophisticated understanding of astronomy, architecture, mathematics, knowledge that seems to emerge almost overnight, historically speaking. And then, just as suddenly in some places, these sites are abandoned, buried, deliberately covered over and forgotten. Why? Why would a people build something magnificent and then hide it from the future? Feel the weight of your head on your pillow. Notice how perfectly it supports you. Notice how your body knows exactly how to rest, even if your mind sometimes forgets. Your body is ancient. It carries within it the memories of all these ancestors, their survival, their ingenuity, their capacity to endure and adapt, and somehow, against all odds, to find moments of joy even in the most difficult times. You are the proof that they made it, that they survived whatever this mystery was, that they persevered. And if they could persevere through ice ages and rising seas and changes we can barely fathom, then perhaps whatever challenges wait for you tomorrow, next week, next year, perhaps you carry within you that same resilience, that same inexplicable human capacity to endure. Let me tell you about a place that might have existed. I say might have because we're walking now in that beautiful territory between archaeology and imagination, between what we can prove and what we can feel must have been true. There's a site, a real archaeological site, in what is now southeastern Turkey. It's called Göbekli Tepe, and it's one of the most profoundly mysterious places ever discovered. Massive stone pillars, arranged in circles, carved with images of animals and symbols we still can't fully interpret. And the mystery isn't just what it was. The mystery is when it was. 11,000 years ago, maybe 12,000. Built before agriculture, before cities, before writing, before, according to everything we thought we knew about human civilization, people should have been capable of organizing the labor, the vision, the sustained community effort to create something like this. And yet, There it stands. But I don't want to talk about the stones tonight. I want to talk about the people, the hands that carved those stones, the backs that carried them, the minds that imagined them, the hearts that must have beaten with some overwhelming emotion. Faith, fear, hope, wonder. To commit so much of their brief lives to building something that would outlast them by millennia. Let your shoulders relax now. Feel them melt away from your ears, down, settling into rest. Feel your jaw unclench if it's been holding tension. Part your lips slightly, just enough to let your face go soft. Imagine a woman, let's call her, well, we don't know what names sounded like then, but let's call her something that feels right. Asha. It means hope in Sanskrit, one of humanity's oldest languages. And even though it's probably not what anyone called themselves 12,000 years ago, it will do for us tonight. Asha wakes up before dawn, as she has every day of her adult life. The air is cool, almost cold, and she can see her breath in the darkness of the shelter she shares with her family. Beside her, her partner still sleeps, one arm thrown across their youngest child. Her older daughter, 14, is already awake, sitting by the entrance, watching the sky. They don't speak. There's no need. They've lived together so long, so intimately, that words are almost superfluous for the simple communications of daily life. Asha touches her daughter's shoulder as she passes. A gesture that says, I see you, I'm here, we're safe. And the daughter leans into the touch for just a moment before Asha steps out into the pre-dawn world. The settlement is quiet but not silent. Never silent. Someone is always awake in a community like this, always tending the fire, always watching. She can hear old Merrick coughing in his shelter, a wet, ragged sound that worries her. He's been coughing like that for a full cycle of the moon now, and she knows with the matter-of-fact acceptance that ancient people had about death, that he probably won't see another winter. His children know it too. They've begun preparing in the subtle ways people prepare for loss, spending more time with him, asking him to tell the old stories again, learning the details they might have taken for granted before. This is how humans dealt with grief then. Not by denying it, not by being surprised by it, but by living alongside it, acknowledging it, weaving it into the fabric of life as naturally as joy or hunger or exhaustion. Let fire crackle more audibly. Can you feel the temperature in your room right now? Notice whether you're slightly too warm or slightly too cool, and know that your body will adjust, will find its equilibrium. You don't have to do anything. Your ancient, wise body knows how to regulate itself, just as Asha's body knew, just as every human body has known for hundreds of thousands of years. Asha walks to the edge of the settlement, where the great work is happening. The stones, the massive, impossible stones that they've been carving and placing for longer than she's been alive. Her own mother worked on these stones. Her grandmother. Some of the oldest people in the community say their grandparents worked on them too. Project spanning generations. Imagine that. Imagine committing your life to something you know you'll never see completed. Something that might not be completed in your children's lifetime or their children's lifetime. Imagine having the faith, the vision, the patience to work towards something that exists mostly as a hope in the collective mind of your people. We've lost that, haven't we? That kind of patience, that kind of faith. We can barely commit to things that will take until next week, let alone next century. But Asha doesn't think about it that way. For her, working on the stones is simply what people do. As part of the rhythm of life, like planting, like hunting, like gathering, like the ceremonies that mark the turning of seasons. Every full moon, the whole community comes together at the stones. They dance, they sing, they perform rituals that Asha learned from her mother, who learned them from hers, reaching back through time to origins lost in the depths of oral history. What do the rituals mean? Even Asha isn't entirely sure. Some are about the animals, the foxes and birds and serpents carved into the stone. Some seem to be about the stars, the way they move across the sky in their eternal patterns. Some are simply about being together, about affirming, we are here, we exist, we matter. Isn't that what all rituals are really about in the end? That basic human need to say, I exist, you exist, we exist together. And that means something. Let your breathing continue its gentle rhythm. You don't need to control it anymore. It's happening all by itself, just as it has every moment since you were born, just as it did for Asha, just as it does for every human who has ever lived. Your breath connects you to them, across time, across the vast gulf of millennia. The same oxygen, the same miracle of respiration, the same unconscious act of sustaining life, moment by moment by moment. What happened next is the mystery at the heart of our story tonight. Somewhere around this time, give or take a few centuries, which is nothing in the scale of human history, something shifted. And not just in one place. That's what makes it so strange, so inexplicable, so haunting. Evidence suggests that human communities separated by thousands of miles, with no apparent contact with each other, all began to change in similar ways at roughly the same time. They began to settle more permanently, to domesticate plants and animals, to create more complex social hierarchies, to develop what we would recognize as the beginnings of civilization. Now, traditional history tells us this was progress, inevitable, natural progress. Humans figured out agriculture, agriculture led to surplus, surplus led to specialization, specialization led to cities, cities led to everything we know today. A straight line, more or less, from primitive to advanced. But here's what keeps archaeologists and anthropologists awake at night. It wasn't a straight line at all. Some communities seemed to develop agriculture and then abandon it, return to hunting and gathering. Others built permanent structures and then deliberately tore them down, buried them, as if trying to erase the evidence they'd ever existed. Still others show signs of sudden, dramatic changes in diet, social organization, even skull shape, suggesting radical shifts in lifestyle happening within just a few generations. It's as if humanity tried out civilization, found something about it troubling or wrong or frightening, and then had a collective argument with itself about whether to proceed. Feel your body now, how heavy it's becoming, how it sinks deeper into rest with every breath. Your arms are heavy, your legs are heavy, your thoughts are beginning to slow, to drift, like leaves floating on the surface of a quiet pond. Let's go back to Asha. She's older now. Her daughter has children of her own. Old Merrick died 3 winters ago, as they knew he would, and the community mourned him with ancient rituals and then carried on, as communities do. But something is different now. Something has been different for a few years, and Asha can't quite name what it is. There's a tension in the community that wasn't there before. Disagreements that go beyond the normal, healthy conflicts of human social life. It started with the harvest. See, something extraordinary happened. Some of the grasses they'd been gathering for generations, wild grasses with small, hard seeds, suddenly became more abundant. Not by accident, because a few curious people had started doing something radical. They'd started deliberately planting the seeds, watering them, protecting them from animals. And it worked. The grasses grew thicker, taller, with more seeds. It should have been a cause for celebration. More food with less effort. But it created complications. The people who tended the grasses began to feel possessive of them. "These are our grasses," they'd say. "We planted them. We tended them. We should get a larger share of the harvest." And they weren't entirely wrong, were they? They had invested time and effort. But it violated something fundamental in the community's ethic. The idea that food belonged to everyone, that resources were shared, that no one person or family could claim ownership over what the earth provided. Asha watched these arguments with a growing unease she couldn't quite articulate. She's seen more than 50 winters now, which makes her ancient by the standards of her time. A keeper of wisdom, a woman whose voice carries weight in community decisions. And she's beginning to wonder if this new way, this deliberate cultivation, this hint of ownership, this subtle shift from we to me, is worth what it might cost them. Your own mind is beginning to wander now, isn't it? Thoughts drift in and then drift away before you can quite catch them. This is good. This is right. Let them float. You don't need to hold on to anything right now. You don't need to remember any of this. The story is just a river, and you're floating on it, safe, supported, moving gently toward the ocean of sleep. Let rain return, slightly louder, more present. Here's what psychology tells us about moments of collective transition. They're terrifying. Even when change is positive, even when it promises to make life easier or safer or more comfortable, change requires letting go of known patterns, familiar ways of being. And humans, for all our adaptability, are also deeply conservative creatures. We find comfort in tradition, in the way we've always done things. So imagine being Asha, watching her world transform, watching the old certainties that food is shared, that no one claims ownership, that the community moves together as one, begin to crack and shift. Some people are excited about these changes, especially younger people who see possibility in cultivation, in permanence, in the idea of building something that will last beyond their lifetimes in a different way than the ceremonial stones. But others are frightened. They feel that something essential is being lost. Some ineffable quality of life, some freedom or equality or connection to the rhythms of the wild world, slipping away as they tie themselves to fields and harvests and the demands of sedentary life. Both groups are right, of course. That's the tragedy and the beauty of these moments of transition. Both the fear and the excitement are valid. Both the loss and the gain are real. Let your jaw go slack. Let your tongue rest heavy in your mouth. Feel your eyelids so heavy now, sealed shut or fluttering, barely able to open even if you wanted to. There's no need to open them. No need to see anything but the images forming behind your closed eyes, the dreams beginning to stir at the edges of your consciousness. One night, a night much like this one, dark and cool with rain pattering on the roofs of the shelters, the community gathers for a meeting. These meetings have always been their way of making important decisions. Everyone speaks who wants to. They talk until consensus emerges, or until they agree to wait and revisit the question another time. But tonight, something unprecedented happens. The community can't reach consensus. Half want to fully commit to the cultivated grasses, to plant more, to stay in one place and build permanent homes. The other half want to return to the old ways, to leave the grasses to grow wild, to maintain their mobility and freedom. The argument goes on for hours. Voices are raised, something rare in this culture, where respect and patience are deeply valued. Asha tries to mediate, tries to find middle ground, but for the first time in her long life, she can't. The divide is too fundamental. And so, as dawn breaks, the community makes a decision that will echo through the next 10,000 years of human history. They split. The splitting of communities, the branching of human societies into different paths. This is one of the great unexplained patterns of that missing millennium. We see it in the archaeological record again and again. Sites that are suddenly abandoned. Tools and pottery styles that diverge dramatically within a few generations. DNA evidence suggesting rapid migrations, mixing of populations, the formation of new social groups. What traditional history often misses is the emotional reality of these moments. The heartbreak, the grief, the terrible necessity of choosing between people you love and ways of living you believe in. Feel your heartbeat now, slow and steady in your chest. It beats for you, this magnificent organ, without you having to tell it to. It beat for Asha too. For her mother, her grandmother, back and back through an unbroken chain of beating hearts extending to the very dawn of our species and beyond, to our ancestors who weren't quite yet human, whose hearts beat with the same steady rhythm, keeping them alive, keeping them going one moment to the next. The families who choose to stay with the cultivation gather in the dawnlight, already discussing where to build more permanent shelters, how to expand the fields. There's an excitement to them, an energy. They're creating something new, something unprecedented. They can feel it. They're on the verge of what will eventually become agriculture, civilization, everything that will follow. The families who choose to leave are quieter. They begin packing their belongings, which isn't much by our standards but feels like everything to them. Leather pouches of tools, dried foods for the journey, sleeping furs, the small carved figurines and sacred objects that connect them to their ancestors and their gods. Asha is one of those leaving. It might surprise you to learn that. She's old after all. Travel will be hard for her. Why not stay? Enjoy the comfort and stability of the settled life. Spend her remaining years in peace. But Asha knows something the younger people have perhaps forgotten. That comfort can be a cage. That the freedom to move with the seasons, to follow the animals, to read the land and respond to its rhythms. This is not a primitive existence to be outgrown. It's a way of being fully human that she's not ready to surrender. Not yet. Maybe not ever. The goodbyes take all day. Brothers and sisters who will never see each other again. Cousins, childhood friends, lovers who must choose between each other and their convictions, and some choose love and some choose conviction, and all of them will wonder for the rest of their lives if they made the right choice. Asha says goodbye to her younger daughter, who has chosen to stay. They hold each other for a long time, memorizing the feel of each other's bodies, the smell of each other's skin. They don't say much. What is there to say? I love you is understood. I'll miss you is understood. I wish things were different is understood. Asha's older daughter is coming with her, along with her children. That's some comfort. But as Asha watches her younger daughter's face, sees the tears streaming down her cheeks. She feels something break inside her chest. A pain so sharp and sudden that for a moment she wonders if this is how she'll die. Here, now, of heartbreak itself. But she doesn't die. The moment passes. The pain dulls to an ache. And when the sun begins to set, the group that is leaving sets out, walking into the gathering darkness, heading toward lands unknown. Your own breathing is so slow now, so deep, each breath taking longer than the last, your body settling into the rhythms of approaching sleep. You might already be drifting, surfacing occasionally to hear my voice, then drifting again. This is perfect. This is exactly right. What happened to Asha's group? We don't know, of course. They're fictional, built from fragments of evidence and imagination. But we know what happened to real groups like them. Some thrived, some struggled, some eventually adopted agriculture themselves after a few more generations of wandering. Some maintained the old ways for thousands of years, becoming the indigenous peoples who European colonizers would later encounter and tragically misunderstand as primitive, never realizing they were looking at cultures that had consciously chosen their path, that had preserved ancient wisdom the settled peoples had forgotten. And the group that stayed, they became the first farmers, and then the first villagers, and then the first city dwellers. And eventually, over thousands of years, they became us. Sitting here right now in our modern world of technology and comfort and complexity, were they right to choose that path? Was Asha right to walk away from it? The question itself is wrong, of course. There is no right or wrong in these great branching moments of human history. There is only choice and consequence, and the strange, meandering path that leads from there to here, from then to now, from their hearts to yours. Feel how completely relaxed you are now, how your body has become almost weightless, as if you're floating, as if the bed beneath you is a cloud, and you're suspended in that perfect moment between waking and sleep, where the boundaries blur and anything seems possible. There's a theory, somewhat controversial, somewhat poetic, that speaks to something deep in the human psyche. It suggests that we carry within us a kind of cellular memory of that splitting moment, that the ambivalence we feel toward modern life, the stress, the alienation, the nagging sense that something is missing, isn't just contemporary malaise. It's ancient grief. We are the descendants of the people who stayed, who chose settlement, agriculture, civilization, and we've gained everything from that choice. Medicine, art, science, music, literature, the ability to build and dream and achieve on scales our ancestors couldn't have imagined. But somewhere in our DNA, in the inherited memories passed down through countless generations, we also carry the loss of the close-knit community where everyone knew everyone, the loss of direct connection to the wild world, the loss of those long, unstructured days moving with the rhythms of nature rather than the demands of clocks and calendars. This is not a romanticization of the past. Life was hard then. People died young. Infant mortality was devastating. There was no dental care, no antibiotics, no pain relief beyond what plants could provide. But there was something else too. Something we've struggled to replicate in our modern world despite all our advances. There was belonging. Let your mind drift back now, not to Asha's time, but to your own childhood. To a moment. Maybe you remember it clearly, maybe it's just a feeling when you felt completely safe, completely held. Maybe you were in someone's arms. Maybe you were playing with friends. Maybe you were alone but content, absorbed in some simple pleasure. That feeling, that sense of being exactly where you belong, of the world being fundamentally okay despite its challenges. That's what our ancestors had built into the structure of their daily lives. Not because they were simpler or more naive than us, but because their communities were small enough, intimate enough, that every member mattered visibly and tangibly. When you stumbled, people caught you, not as a favor, not as charity, but as natural as breathing, because your well-being was tied to theirs, their survival was tied to yours. You were in it together, for better or worse, until death. We've tried to recreate that in our modern world. In our families, our friendships, our communities online and offline. And sometimes we succeed brilliantly. Sometimes we create pockets of genuine connection that would make Asha nod in recognition, in respect. But it's harder now. We're so dispersed, so mobile, so individualized. We've gained autonomy, the freedom to be whoever we want to be, to choose our own paths, but we've paid for it with atomization, with loneliness, with that peculiar modern condition of being surrounded by millions of people and still feeling utterly alone. This is the price of the choice made all those thousands of years ago. Not a bad choice, not a good choice, just a choice with consequences that ripple through time to touch your life. Right now, tonight, as you lie here in the darkness. Your breathing has become so soft now I can barely hear it. Your body is completely still, completely relaxed. You're drifting deeper, and that's good. Let yourself go. Let yourself sink. There's nothing to hold on to, nothing to remember. Just this gentle descent into rest. You know what's beautiful, though? What gives me hope across the vast distance of time separating us from Asha and her people? We're still trying, despite everything, despite the alienation, despite the loneliness, despite how hard modern life can be. We're still reaching for connection, still building communities, still looking for ways to belong to each other. Still asking the same questions they asked. How should we live? What matters? How do we balance individual freedom with collective good? How do we honor the past while embracing the future? Every time you reach out to a friend, every time you show kindness to a stranger, every time you choose connection over convenience, vulnerability over safety, love over fear, you're answering those questions. You're continuing the conversation that began around fires on the edges of melting glaciers 12,000 years ago. You are part of the story, not separate from it, not distant from it. You are it, living and unfolding moment by moment. Let that sink in as you sink deeper into sleep. You are the story, your life, with all its mundane details and extraordinary moments, is the continuation of everything Asha and her people began. Their struggles are your struggles. Their hopes are your hopes. Their capacity to endure, to adapt, to find joy in small things, to love fiercely even knowing love means inevitable loss. All of that lives in you. You carry them forward, simply by living. Simply by trying, simply by being here, now, breathing in and out, your ancient heart beating its steady rhythm. There's one more part of this story I want to share with you before you drift completely into sleep. It's about the rituals around rest. In Asha's world, sleep wasn't taken for granted the way we sometimes take it for granted. Every night that you closed your eyes and woke up again the next morning was a small miracle. The world was full of dangers, predators, accidents, illness. Sleep made you vulnerable, and yet you had to sleep, your body demanded it, and so communities developed rituals to make sleep feel safer, more sacred. Before sleeping, families would gather around the fire. They'd tell stories, not always grand myths or epic tales, but small stories. Funny things that happened during the day. Observations about the weather, the animals, the changing seasons. Gossip even. Yes, gossip existed 12,000 years ago, because humans are humans across all time, and we're all endlessly fascinated by each other's lives. These evening conversations served a purpose beyond entertainment. They were a way of saying, we're all here, we're all safe, we're together. They settled the nervous system, helped people transition from the alertness required during the day to the surrender required for sleep. And then, one by one, people would lie down, often touching. A hand on a shoulder, children curled against parents, partners entwined. Contact meant safety in a visceral, animal way. It said, "You're not alone. If danger comes, I'll wake you. I've got you." Let yourself imagine that now. Imagine you're not alone in your bed, but surrounded by people who love you. You can feel the warmth of their bodies near yours. You can hear their breathing, falling into synchronization with your own. You are held not just by the bed beneath you, but by this web of care, this network of connection. I know you might actually be alone right now. Most of us sleep alone in our modern world, in our private rooms, our individual beds. But aloneness doesn't have to mean loneliness, because you carry within you all the people who have loved you. They're there in memory, in the ways they shaped you, in the pieces of themselves they gave you that you carry forward. Your parents or caregivers who kept you safe when you were too small to keep yourself safe. Your friends who have laughed with you and cried with you. Your partners, past and present. Your children, if you have them. Your teachers, your mentors, the strangers who showed you unexpected kindness. Even pets you've loved, who gave you their simple, uncomplicated affection. They're all there, woven into who you are. And in a very real sense, you're never truly alone. You're always held by this invisible web of connection stretching across space and time. Feel it now. Feel that web. Let it support you as you sink deeper. Let it catch you as you fall into sleep the way a net catches a trapeze artist. Soft and sure. You are safe. You are held. You can let go completely. In ancient times, they believed dreams were messages. From the gods, from ancestors, from the world soul itself. Modern psychology tells us dreams are how our brains process information, consolidate memories, work through problems. Both are true in their way. Dreams are where the rational and the mystical meet, where your conscious mind loosens its grip and deeper truths can surface. Whatever you dream tonight, know that it's part of your healing, your processing, your becoming. Your brain is doing exactly what it's supposed to do, sifting through the day's experiences, deciding what to keep and what to release, integrating new information into the vast library of who you are. You don't have to understand your dreams. You don't have to remember them. They're doing their work whether you're aware of it or not, just as your heart beats and your lungs breathe without your conscious direction. Trust your dreaming mind the way Asha trusted hers. The way every human who has ever lived has trusted the strange, necessary journey into sleep and dreams. We're at the threshold now, that liminal space between waking and sleeping, between consciousness and dreams, between the story I'm telling and the story your own mind is beginning to tell itself. This is where I begin to let you go. Not abruptly, Never abruptly, but gradually, like the tide receding, like daylight fading, like a hand slowly releasing its grip because it knows you're safe, you're ready, you can continue on your own. The missing chapter of human history, the one we've explored together tonight, isn't really missing at all, is it? It's here. It's in you. In every choice you make between connection and isolation. In every moment you feel caught between the past and future. In every time you wonder how to live, what to value, how to be fully human in a world that sometimes seems designed to fragment us. You are living the answer to that mystery. Every day, every breath, every small act of courage or kindness or simple persistence. Let your body become completely still now. So still you almost can't tell where you end and the bed begins. So still that you're not sure if you're breathing or if breath is simply happening, moving through you like wind through leaves. Asha died, eventually. Of course she did. Perhaps at 60, which would have been very old in her time. Perhaps surrounded by her daughter and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Perhaps she died having never seen her other daughter again, carrying that loss with her into whatever comes after. But before she died, she told stories. She passed down everything she knew about plants and stars and survival and love and the great splitting of her people. She made sure the next generation understood where they came from, why they'd made the choices they made, what values were worth preserving. And those stories, diluted and transformed and barely recognizable, have made it down through 12,000 years to reach you, to reach me, to become the story I'm telling you now as you drift into sleep. That's the real miracle, isn't it? Not the monuments of stone or the inventions of agriculture or the rise of civilization. The real miracle is that humans kept talking to each other, kept telling stories, kept passing down wisdom and foolishness and everything in between, an unbroken chain of voices reaching across the abyss of time. Your voice is part of that chain. The stories you tell, the values you model, the love you give, they'll echo forward too, in ways you can't imagine. Your life matters in that vast, species-wide sense, even if you never build a monument or write a book or do anything the world would call important. You matter because you're part of the story, because you're here, because you've survived this day and will wake to face tomorrow. And right now, tonight, you can rest. You've earned it, simply by being alive, by carrying forward the long, complicated legacy of being human. You've earned this rest. So rest now, let go, drift, sink into the darkness that is not empty but full of dreams, full of healing, full of the quiet work of restoration that sleep brings. Let the mystery remain mysterious. Let the questions remain unanswered. Let tomorrow's worries wait for tomorrow. Right now, there is only this: the softness of your pillow, the warmth of your blankets, the gentle rhythm of your breath, and the sure and certain knowledge that you are safe, you are held, you are exactly where you need to be. Sleep now. Your body knows what to do. It's been doing this since before you were born. This rhythm of waking and sleeping, consciousness and dreams. Trust it. Trust the ancient wisdom in your cells. The same wisdom that guided Asha and all your ancestors through their nights. If thoughts arise, let them pass like clouds across the sky of your mind. You don't have to engage with them. You don't have to solve anything. Just notice them passing and let them go. Breathe. Release. The missing chapter isn't missing anymore. You've found it. It's been inside you all along. This connection to your ancient past, this inheritance of resilience and adaptation, and the stubborn refusal to give up even when things are hard. You carry them with you into sleep, and they will carry you through it safely to morning. Rest now, dear traveler. Your journey for today is complete. Tomorrow will come as it always does. But tonight is for dreams. Tonight is for healing. Tonight is for the deep, restorative darkness that makes life possible. Sleep, sleep. You're still here. Or perhaps you're already gone, already dreaming. And these words are just sounds in the background of your sleep. Either way is perfect. If you can still hear me, know this: you are loved by people you know and by me, a voice in the darkness, a stranger who has sat with you through the story and wishes you nothing but peace. The world will still be complicated tomorrow, but tonight you can rest from it. Tonight you can simply be: no tasks, no performance, no pretending. Just you, just breath, just this moment of absolute perfect rest. Sleep well, dear one. May your dreams be gentle. May you wake refreshed. May you carry with you always the knowledge that you are part of something ancient, something beautiful, something that will continue long after we're all gone. The endless, miraculous story of humans trying to love each other, trying to understand, trying to be kind in a world that often isn't. You are enough. You have always been enough. Now sleep.